Okay, so this is the final stages of this watercolour picture. I notice I've got quite a lot of pencil marks on here, so I thought I might just rub them out, seeing as I can kind of get to them. I know a lot of you worry about having pencil marks still showing. I'm not too bothered about them really, but at this stage we probably don't really need them. It might be a good point if there's any sort of showing that you could get rid of. I'm having a little go at the bottle here. Yeah, they seem to be disappearing quite well actually, even the ones that I've painted over, so I think I'm going to take those out so that I'm just creating areas with just tone rather than using the pencil on there and leaving it sort of to be buried. I can't really probably get rid of that one because I've painted over it, but I'm going to come into that with some sort of stripes to create those appley shapes. I've gone on to mix up some more colours. I've reintroduced that lovely kind of warm yellow, which is lemon plus a little bit of ochre, so that's kind of like this. It's quite strong. I thought I might just put a few stripes onto the apple to try and lift that as well, because I've used the quite a lot of the kitchen roll to take the colour out. It's starting to look a little bit like an orange, so I'm going to put the stripes back in again with some stronger watercolour there. There's a little bit on this apple here as well, so I'm going to bring in some stripes there just with a stronger yellow. And the other thing I wanted to do was bring in the lip of the bowl in this strong yellow, because it is quite a strong yellow of the wooden bowl. Just going to put that in using the stronger pigment there, so there's less water in this. Again, you can loosen it up a little bit if you want to get it looking a little bit more light and bright. And I'm going to bring that round to the ellipse there, and a little bit more on the bottom here because it's quite a strong colour there. I got rid of the kind of greyish colour, which I'm kind of regretting a bit. I'll probably pop a little bit of the burnt sienna there so that it softens it a little bit. I'm not sure about this area here. I think the bowl itself is probably less sort of stark than that, so I'm just going to wash over that a little bit with some of this yellow to just try and kind of soften those lines that I made with a big brush, because I quite enjoyed doing that, but I don't know if it's really reflecting the way that the bowl is, because it's got these lovely stripes on it. Let's just pop those back in. And now I'm going to go in with the greens. I think I'll come back to the reds again once that yellow's dried. So I've mixed up this colour here, which I tried out on this bit of paper. I really wanted that kind of quite strong bluey green for the stalk, because it has got bluiness to it. So I'm going to pop that in to get that arc and bring it down into this tomato here. I quite like leaving a little bit of white around it to define it. So let's just bring that arc in. There we go, it sort of disappears behind there. And then I'm going to use that dark colour to put these details in. I mean, I've been a bit more painterly with how these have gone in. They're not directly how they look. So bring that into the tomato. Again, this is you sort of glazing over these colours. I'm going to bring it right back in there, because it is, although I've lost a bit of the lightness of that, I think I'll just leave it on the top there. This bit probably as well. Let's put these in. Using the violet here to bring in the apple stalk. I just don't want to do too much to this because I'm going to lose that looseness if I put in too much detail, I feel. I like the depth and the darkness around the lip of this. It's really dark in there. So now you're squinting, you're really looking at the very darkest shades, getting that in that depth. Let's put in, I mean, I'm going to move that up because I've made a bit of a mess of where I put it in pencil, so I'm going to suggest that it's kind of more of a stalk coming up from there. I don't know if I want to go over that too much with too many stripes because it is going to lose that kind of painterliness. I don't want it to look too realistic and too detailed. I quite like this violet. I might come back into the bottle a little bit, really squint, perhaps bring in a darker tone around here to get that kind of looking more shiny. It's a case of glazing over these now. If you want to put lots of detail in, you can. I'm going to try and keep it fairly free. This bit looks very white to me inside here, and it isn't. It's green background, and I kind of want to define the bottom of this tomato. So I'm going to use that violet to do it. Get it looking rounder. There seems to be quite a lot of kind of leaf action there as well, kind of wafting over from the edge where I think I might have eaten one of these tomatoes, so I think I might just put that in a little bit and perhaps use this yellowy colour here to just with that to bring in that little bit of light green in there. Might just soften that using a bigger brush. It's a bit clumsy. So it softly goes up. Don't want to do too much to that. The other thing that I thought I might try and define was the edge of this bottle, but I don't know quite how I'm going to do that without going into the tone on the outside, so I think I might just leave it for now. This comes in a little bit, doesn't it? So we could do that a little bit. Bring that green in just a little bit more because it's quite a light wash. It could come back over, and then the only thing is then you need to start bringing it back over again over the whole thing. I might take that bit of pencil out as well, just lighten over because it isn't that yellow, that part of the background. I've actually retaped this back down. I hadn't taped that properly and it was quite cockling, so I would always, as usually, just tape everything down first so that you've got no cockling edges. I mean, you can do what we were doing before, which was actually size the paper so that it doesn't cockle at all, and you've got a really flat surface when you take it off. So that involves just wetting it all down first. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of marks here that I didn't really want into the background by knocking that back. I think it's becoming a little bit muddy here, so I don't want to do too much more. Just get plenty of water on, just soften it around so I'm not losing some of these lovely light greens. This is getting a bit too dark. The only other thing I was going to do is perhaps wash over the inside here. I think we probably could do with a little bit more definition in this area here. It looks very, very dark. Maybe use a bit of the bluey violet in here so that you've got that real depth of field. Just really get that happening because it's kind of like a little arc darkness there. Suggesting that shadow coming around. I think actually that sort of tucks in, that green tucks in a bit closer in. Let's suggest that. And yeah, getting this probably more violetty under here just a little bit because it is very, very dark in here. Just bring that and maybe just glaze it over just a little bit. I do actually like the way that water's run into that though. Don't really want to lose it too much. Again, it's a point where you can lose some of those lovely kind of accidental bits of tone that you actually are really nice. I mean, that's sort of violety greeny, isn't it? I'm wondering whether I could do that on this side of the bowl to get that kind of tone, but then I'm losing a little bit of the shape, so let's just use water to just soften that a little bit. And the last thing I wanted to do was just have a little bit more of a wash of the green, of the blue, sorry, because that is very sort of violet there. And again, I think I might use the bigger brush. Let's just check this kind of violet colour and see how dark it is. It's okay actually. Let's just see if we do that, because you want this edge to look like it's sort of coming over. So I kind of want it to, that bit's coming over there, isn't it? So just have a look at these details. We'll just soften it a bit, make it darker here so that it works into that shadow that's dropping down from there. Make it look a little bit sort of flatter, that it's falling away more flatly, rather than looking kind of too pale underneath here. That might well be it. I kind of just want to suggest all of this. I don't want to put too much detail in because you lose that lovely light quality of the watercolour that way. It might be a bit darker just under here where that's kind of like tucking around the bottom of the bottle, so get that kind of a bit darker. Again, you could probably use a smaller brush for that, and maybe a little bit of the darker ultramarine because it is quite dark, that. There we go, as it comes up to the bottom of the bottle, because the bottle is quite dark. And then perhaps put a little bit of violet on that bottom part of the bottle, because that's not where the label is, so let's just see if we can suggest that coming out. There we go, I don't want to do too much more than that. There we go, that sort of softens it as well. There we go, maybe a bit more violet in here. A bit more violet in the where the stalk is coming into the tomato, so it really looks like it's going in. I think that might be all I want to do. Yeah, little bits like that just make a huge amount of difference. I think that needs to like really look like it's coming up, and that's actually part of the tomatoes. There are a few gaps there. Just a bit of tidying up. Make that look really dark there, because it is. And that one, it's just in front, isn't it? Only just in front of the other tomato there. So you kind of want to suggest that that's kind of behind it. And this one's in front. That's it, I think.